Everything we do is gold.
Everything we do is gold, okay? So as I was just saying, I'm on the edge right now. If anyone does anything annoying, I'm gonna lose it.
Because you came
Okay?
from the supermarket
I can't. It came from the supermarket. Okay. Now I'm
and now
not
you're
worried about you,
bugging.
Keith. You're like probably one of the least annoying people I've ever met,
I'm
and I don't
annoying.
expect you to say the same about me. But but you, but you, but you are really not an annoying.
No, that's actually funny. I don't find you annoying at all. Do
Really,
people find you annoying?
I am a really obnoxious person.
Some people find me annoying. I promise you.
Stupid people. That's who.
Fuck those people.
Those people.
No,
All
but
right. And that's why we're best friends.
and that's why we're about to do a podcast about loving people,
Loving,
loving all people.
loving all people. So Keith, it's Sunday, um,
It's
and
February 2nd, 2025.
it's February 2nd, 2025,
We can
and you
mark
hit
the
me up. You had
time.
an idea and inspiration for today's show.
Yeah.
But before we get into it, Keith, why don't you go ahead and tell our awesome listeners
Okay. So
about
first thing,
affiliations?
yeah. So right now you're watching the Get You Some. Technically speaking, this is the Get You Some Productions podcast,
Hmm.
which is a podcast about music production. But today we're not going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about another brand that we're sort of a nascent brand that we're trying to work on. That's more about self-help. But while we're at it, we might as well just say we are usually a podcast all about music production. This particular show is probably going to appear in both places. Like and subscribe, leave a rating and review. And we also happen to be Reverb affiliates. We'll leave a link. If you want to buy music production gear, any type of music gear, you can click the link. But yeah, so I thought that it would be cool if, even though we have a bunch of music brands, we had this one self-help brand, frankly, because who doesn't want to get, or not necessarily self-help. How about personal development? More like
Cultivation.
that.
Cultivation.
Cultivation of your, yeah. So that's why I wanted to talk to you today.
Yeah.
So I had this idea, and I've been telling a lot of people about it now, called the Masters of the Universe Club. And it's really about people purposefully coming together, forming a kind of group, sort of like a mastermind group, or just a network that where everyone is on the same page. Everybody wants to become the greatest person they can possibly be, but while doing good at the same time. So I sort of thought of kind of like a little bit of a slogan in a sense,
Mm.
which is becoming great while doing good, or becoming, but maybe that's not so great, but it's like being the greatest you can ever be
Mm.
and being the goodest you can ever be. Even though that's not real English, I feel like that sort of lands a little bit harder. I don't know. The reason I'm talking to you today about it is because I have a reminder on my phone that says to do something about it every once in a while.
Yes.
And second of all, because I've been telling people about it and people are interested and I have no idea, I need help. So actually the one thing I
Mm.
was going to say to you is that even though it seems like I'm driving the ship here, I need you more than you need me. That's the message. Because I need help figuring this shit out and I need
Hmm.
somebody to be there with me. So while this happens, so the problems I'm running into are, first thing is when I talk to people about it, having some sort of standardized way of messaging, like they get an email. After I talk to them about it, they either get a text or an email saying, this is what we're all about.
Hmm.
We're
Hmm.
a community of people We want to become the greatest people we can possibly be, but also become the goodest people. And we want to make the world a better place, but we also want to make ourselves better. And hopefully one will lead to the other. And then how to get these people into the funnel, and what does this community look like? Is it a Facebook group? Is it an email list? Is it a physical community where people show up together? Is it all those things? And not to be selfish, but how do we maintain control over this group so that we're guiding the mission and the values of it while accepting people in? But how do we, ultimately, I'd like to actually make money on it. So what I was talking to you in a prior podcast was we read a book together and try to get people interested by covering interesting things about the book. But we're also getting better at, we're covering things that we want to cover for ourselves. Like anything that you want to get better at, let's read the book together. Let's talk about it on the show. Let's sell the book through the Amazon affiliation. Let's use the book's cachet to hopefully get more hits on the YouTube channel. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Maybe start to do interviews with the actual authors when we get to be good at it.
Well, okay, so there's a lot.
There's a lot there.
And I've known you for a long time, and if I didn't interject, you would just keep going. You just keep throwing stuff up, and that's, because you're kind of like, you're a producer.
Right.
You're a producer. No, it's not going to be in person. Not in this day and age. Okay, so just put that out there.
Forget it.
How do we remain control? Well, there are certain formats where there's admins, where we would be the admin. And then I simultaneously also thought of sort of code of conduct, like a good admin will set out the code of conduct or the expectations or the constitution of the group or whatever it is. And people read that over and then they join, they agreeing to be that. So that's, that's typical. I see that on Facebook. On some of the podcasts I listen to, they mentioned that Facebook's considered a little bit older now. And there's other forums, other mediums, other websites, other networks that are maybe more, contemporary or skew younger or more updated. But at the same time, certain communities are actually better on Facebook because they're a little less volatile, maybe less toxic, a little more open. So I don't know. I am old school. So Facebook, I did MySpace and then Facebook and then I stopped. So I'm not necessarily know anything beyond that, but I will say I can rule out in-person stuff, I think, and just stay as admins to maintain control. Monetizing things, I don't know. Maybe that's more sponsors and affiliates. I don't know about anything beyond that. Yeah, I do like the idea of using books as a starting point to test the waters for that. And we already have a book.
We're going to start with The Miracle Morning.
The Miracle Morning. And then I'd love to consider doing a book on sales, since that's what I work in and it's something I want to be better at. So that's about 10 things to get through.
Okay.
So
so actually let me stop you for a second, because then let's remember what we always said when we first started the Get You Some Productions podcast. It was like our motto was, what is the bare minimum we can do and still keep it going? And I think we've achieved some decent success so far just by having this motto of let's just keep it going, and we'll know we're doing something good or doing something, at least we're doing something if we keep it going. We don't have to do anything perfectly at first. And what's the bare minimum that we think we can actually commit to? I think reading the books together, even if it's like a chapter a month or something, or whatever it is. I don't know. We could probably commit to something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think, and thank you for bringing it back to some of our founding
Yeah.
principles there,
Yeah.
because absolutely the process of just trying this, moving forward with this book, I'm sure we'll learn something in our discussions out of the book from each other, but we'll also learn about the process. Oh, this is what doing a book is like. This is how a discussion's been working. Is this going to work continuing, or are we going to want to? It might open up some doors for our production, and we learn as we go. We learn as we go.
We
So
learn as we go.
we're actually good. We both are in possession of this book. You've read it.
I've read it. Yeah.
So so that's good. I have not.
I think what I'm going to do is, so maybe we should just start with the first chapter like we used to do with that other book we did many, many moons ago,
Yeah.
and just go chapter by chapter. I thought that it would be interesting. There are a lot of podcasts about health and a lot of, or self, improvement. I thought that it might be an interesting, not sort of take on it, but just like there are a lot of long podcasts. There are probably lots and lots of really short ones too. So maybe if we had one that's sort of like we don't spend an hour, but maybe we do podcasts where we go chapter by chapter, but we each pick like one of our favorite quote from it, and something we're willing to talk about or something like that, and just keep it shorter, like max it at 30 minutes, but shoot for like a 20-minute podcast where it's something that somebody can digest it's hopefully inspiring and helpful, but it's something that somebody can digest. It's not like, like a 3-minute or even like a 30-second video that's like completely an insult to anyone's attention span, but it's also not like the hour-long typical podcast where people are expected to tune in for way longer than,
Right.
So more digestible, sort of try to find a space where it's like we're giving the marketplace a little something that's a little different. I don't know. If we did interviews, then we'd have to, we can go deeper.
Well,
and
yeah,
do them
that would be
longer.
interview. That could be a different format because interviews I've noticed are at least an hour.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's the beauty of these types of long form things is that, so I don't want to get away from that, especially when it's an interview and you're interviewing somebody who really knows the topic right there, so they can speak at length about something we are learning. So we're just trying to bring helpful things to people while we do it. And hopefully people will read along with us. So we've committed to reading the books. I'm trying to think about how I can maintain the group. Maybe it's a Facebook group, right? Because you mentioned that you said there's other, I actually was
Slack?
thinking, Slack is you have to pay for.
Okay. That's a
So I
workplace
think
thing. Yeah.
everything needs to be an email list. So we need to have our own list of people who are part of the group. I think we should try to make the group itself be like a value giver, where everybody who's in the group brings value to the group. And I think it should be, for now, invite only. So, because I think that what I've been pitching to people is that it's more of a network. It's more of like a mastermind. Anybody can watch the YouTube video. Maybe we can invite people and say anybody can come and talk about the book if they want. So if you don't have time to do a podcast, but somebody else in the group says, hey, I want to come talk about this chapter. Maybe that's valuable to somebody, to get more buy-in. I'm just like, spitballing at this point, but I think the Facebook group is going to be like one place to start. And I don't know how to maintain an email list. I guess like could just do it in a spreadsheet for now. Name.
An email, I don't know how to do an email list either. But I bet you that information's out there.
Yeah. Like, what's an easy way to start and maintain an email list? We have the drip
I'm surprised it's not
subscription.
something I haven't even ever done this. I haven't ever done this.
What?
An email list.
Yeah,
But
like, how do you maintain it? You can just do one. I think you can build an
wouldn't we
email
want a
list in Gmail.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume it's such
Yeah.
a simple thing.
Yeah. I've tried making text groups, and I've had some trouble, adding and deleting. Well, actually, maybe it's because I haven't made them myself. I don't know.
I don't know. Okay. What's
So,
this? Okay. I'm sorry. I'm
are you
poking around
Googling?
my Gmail. I'm poking around my Gmail, but I can't do two things at once. Yeah. So let's commit to doing our first show,
Okay, let's just commit to that.
right? You said the first chapter,
Yeah.
the book. We'll
Yeah.
discuss.
We'll go
I like
chapter
your
by
idea
chapter.
of what?
I said we'll go chapter by chapter.
But we'll start there, and we can always, nothing's set in stone, right? We're gonna
Right.
see how things are flowing and go from there. But I like your idea of finding a quote or something that pops out, some highlight of that chapter.
Yeah.
As we go, we'll see how that works too. It sounds good to me. I will commit to doing that. Yeah, we'll schedule to come. Obviously I always have the same days off, so it shouldn't be hard. And I have the book already.
Nice. Okay, so I'll reread chapter 1, and I'll underline things, or I'll put some sticky notes in there, and then when I'm ready to go, I'll just let you know.
Yeah, and then a Facebook group. I mean, you already have a Master of the Universe Facebook, don't you?
I do. Yes,
do. So
and I
that's
think
up.
it's
People that-
invite only now, so people don't know.
Okay, so we're kind of ahead of the curve there.
Yeah. Oh, but the reason, by the
Yeah.
way, and I've already said this, but
Yeah.
the reason I'm bringing it up now is because people are actually interested, and so I'm like, oh shit! If people are actually interested in this, then I think we should just do something.
Yeah.
Because I've talked to a few people, and they're like, hell yeah, I want to be part of that group. So, so I'm thinking. So here's what I'm going to do. So we're going to commit to the book, first chapter, and here's what I'm going to commit to. I'm going to come up with a text or an email that then, you know how I work. If I say it on the podcast and then when I'm listening back, it reminds me of the things that I have to do.
Okay.
So I'm going to come up with either a text or an email or both that basically says, here's the group, here's what it's about. You expressed interest in the group. For now, I'm maintaining it as an email list. There's also an invite-only Facebook group. You can, if you're getting a text, you can share your email with me. If you're getting an email, you can share your cell phone with me if you want to receive texts. You can join the Facebook group here. Right now, the group's invite-only. Anybody who's invited to the group has been invited because they've expressed interest in having a mastermind group where everyone is working to become the greatest person they can possibly be, and hopefully impacting the world in a positive way, and that no self-development subject is off the table. And on the YouTube channel, we're going to be covering books that that we think are interesting. We're going to be talking about them. You can read along with us, so just subscribe, and then you'll get a notification. And when we're reading, you can read along with us. If you want to come on the show, I may not even say that, but for now, you can read along with us. You can see our development journey. You can take the journey with us, and then we can discuss in the group, or we can discuss. We have each other's emails or phones. We can discuss in person or whatever.
Yeah,
Something
I'm thinking,
like that.
So, and having the Facebook group means that there's DMing, potentially.
Right.
Like if someone says something, and then either one of us can be like, hey, yeah, sure, DM me. We can DM and be like, well, actually, this person, hey, you want to be on the podcast sometime? You know, you might just realize, oh, this person is like
Right.
has something to say right now, and or
Right.
has a connection to an organization or something that they can
Yes.
promote. You know, anything. Because I realize you're right. It's there's a lot of potential, and a lot of it's going to go off what the community brings to the table.
Right.
We'll be leading it and setting the philosophy and the tone and the admin, but um, if we do it right, it should get a life of its own going from
Right.
participants and members.
Have a life of its own.
Yeah.
So I think, and so maybe not for today, but at some point we have to come up with a really solid, like modus operandi or whatever, like you had said, like a
Yeah.
constitution
Yeah.
or like a mission
Yeah.
statement,
Mission statement.
so that it's really clear to people that when they join the group, there's no fucking around.
Yeah.
We're all here to help each other, and it's only positive vibes,
Yeah.
and and that's it.
I love it.
Cool.
I love it. And the more I think about it, the more I can see like, yeah, people want a space like that. There's
Yeah.
so much toxicity and so many different things pulling you in different directions. Just, well, I have a place I'll go here, and this whole community is going to be, it's a safe place to be. It's
It's a
everything,
safe place to be.
it's a safe place to be. And,
Yeah.
you know,
I'm thinking of,
yeah,
I was thinking even of going crazy. Like I think a friend of mine
yeah,
who is I think I know she's a traditional practitioner of traditional Chinese medicine.
yeah.
I think she's a Trump supporter. I felt like we should interview her just to show that we can all, like, we should take the first step and say, okay, there's no, like, you can have your argument on the main Facebook page all day long,
Yeah, exactly.
right? You
Yeah,
can
but
have your
this-
argument on the line at the fucking grocery store, or while you're pulled up at a light, or when you cut somebody off in the street. You can have your argument anywhere.
Yeah,
Do not bring that here. This is the safe space. How do you even maintain something? That's a scary thing to even say that you're maintaining, because there's some things you cannot tolerate.
yeah, exactly. So that's,
But we have to do it to the best of our ability,
we do. And
within reason.
within reason. So yeah.
But that's how crazy I'm thinking this should be. This should be like the safest, well, not the safest place, but it should just be a place where we leave. If people want to make the world a better place, and they want to get better,
Yeah.
and they want to make a positive impact in the world, in their community, or even one-to-one, if you want to make a positive impact in your relationship with another person, whether it's a friend or your lover or whatever the case may be, or if it's your kids,
Yep.
all those relationships ripple out as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. It's gonna take some doing, because we are in a divided society right now. But I think there is a universe. There's so much universal shared experience, regardless of who or what needs to be deprogrammed from who or what for this or that.
Yeah.
So because there's so much. For instance, good example. My close friend at work, Christina, is also a big time Make America Great. She says stuff that I just find offensive and couldn't, disagree more. But we're still good friends. When one of us is sick or the other one's sick, we call, check up on each other. We talk about parenting. We share recipes. We share advice on how to improve our performance at work and sales. We have so much in common. That's what a society is really about, is the shared common ground. Like you get on a bus or a subway, it doesn't matter what the driver or conductor, which way they lean in the ballot box or blah, blah, blah. That's not what they are there for, and to make your to function, so I think people, I don't want to project too much, but if, I know I have a lot in common with people. I could probably disagree with them vehemently about
Hmm.
some things, but that doesn't mean miracle morning. I think, for instance, it can be a pretty neutral thing. Just talk about like
Well, all
diet,
this, yeah, a lot of that stuff is
scheduling,
neutral.
and like I would love to have a place where they could go and then not worry about having to walk on eggshells or whatever.
Yeah.
So
I, yeah, you,
yeah,
what you were saying inspired me to just think of the term that I think what it is that, yeah, there's lots of ways. So your relationship with this other person
yeah,
is sort of like a good example
hmm
of how there's lots of things that I disagree with in this world,
hmm
but arguing about it, I don't think that ever gets anyone anywhere.
hmm
So I think leading by example would be the most powerful thing we can do. So, I mean, I don't even, we're talking about politics now for some reason. I don't think we should even probably get into politics generally, but it was just like an example of how people are very divisive. But if we lead by example, we're just focused, we have to be singularly focused. How do we become the best people we can possibly be?
yeah,
And we need to lead by example by being good, right? Because I feel like the political venue has been like a
yeah,
really good example of this like constant choosing between a lesser of two evils. What if we didn't have
sure,
to make that choice?
right,
What if it was me and you
hmm
and we made a decision that not only are we going to become the most powerful, competent leaders in our jobs, families, communities, but we also made a commitment to be as good as possible while doing it. And then
I love
and
it.
then somebody else if they're asked to choose, they're going to say, we're going to choose Dan and Keith because they fucking already showed us that we didn't need to choose, right? We didn't
Yeah,
need to choose.
yeah,
These guys, like, and that's the important thing about making ourselves better. It's not just about being loving to everyone and being nice to people. It's also about handling your shit, being extremely competent, and becoming like we need to be rock stars in life,
yes, yes, yes.
you
And I
know?
think that's
So
something
I'm
that
totally down with,
people really identify with is wanting to feel competent. I mean, who's going to argue against that?
right, right. Sales book
Um,
too, because that's, I need to learn that too. So we just have to figure out, it just told me my internet connection was unstable. So let's wrap this up anyway.
Wrap it
Um,
up. Wrap it up. Oh, by the way, I'm watching the Squid Game right now. There you go. I watched the Squid Game. Have you seen the Squid Game?
I've heard about it. I heard it was like kind of like freaky and crazy, and it's like
It's Korean,
yeah.
just Korean language. So you can do subtitles or overdub. We listen to the dub version,
Hmm.
and it's actually so it's freaky and it's got like that it's layers, uh, cool visuals, kind of like this and that. But when you look deeper, there's like a deeper message going on.
Hmm.
Highly recommend it, Keith.
What's the message?
It's extremely violent though.
Okay. Do you
Just
know?
it's extremely violent. But
There was before. It's correct me if I'm wrong, but they play a game, but it's like a death. The stakes are extremely high. It's like death, or it gets that bad.
yes,
The Before there was the Hunger Games, there was actually a foreign movie that I watched a long time ago called Battle Royale. It was Asian. I don't know what.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, and so it was basically like Hunger. It was exactly Hunger Games.
It's not
Um,
a. It's an old concept.
but it's basically the same thing, right? Is that kind of the situation, or is it? I mean, the Hunger Games is about culling. If I'm not mistaken, I think the Battle Royale was kind of the same sort of concept. It was like it may, I'm guessing maybe it was like post-revolution or maybe like still revolution China,
Hmm.
and maybe there was like too many people and kids who did poorly in school got sent to. So it was actually kids too. I mean, I guess it was the
Well, I
same.
mean, China
Hunger Games was kids as
had
well.
the one child policy,
Right.
population issues in
That's
China.
why I'm
No,
thinking of it. I don't want to
yeah,
quote. I mean,
it's no, I don't think it has. It's very a little different. Okay, so Squid Game's gonna be a commentary on uh, human nature,
yep.
how money, a society based on financial exchange,
Oh.
um, what kind of positions it puts people in.
Mm.
Because you can be a good person with bad habits,
Mm-hmm.
right? Uh, um, or or you can be a bad person with good habits, like
How?
vis-a-vis accumulation of wealth and financial independence. Just because someone is successful does not mean they're a good or bad person,
Right.
right?
There's no. I mean, there's not.
Just because someone is unsuccessful does not mean they are a good or bad person.
Right.
And everything, and it's a spectrum.
Right.
And people right in the middle, like, oh, which way are they going to go? Like when pushed to the limit, are they going to just look for themselves or look out for others?
Yeah.
You can't tell until it comes. You have to drill down really deep. So that's kind of what I'm took out of it. So I thought you might find it
Okay.
interesting.
It's funny that you're bringing this up on this show, on this episode, because this is, if in some small way in our tiny little microcosm, we're almost like we're making a stand to preempt the Squid Game of the future. Like that's how I'm looking at it. We're
Okay.
getting like it's like how can we get to a point where we don't have to make that decision? You know? How
Yes,
can we set up a system, even if it's our little system, even if it's just our friend group, even if it's just this little community, even if it's just this little Facebook community, that in this little Facebook community, we're not making that decision. We're not forcing anyone to make that decision. You know?
hmm
I know it's like very grandiose to say that because we're not solving the world's problems here, but I do think that it's like we're sitting here doing this, but what if every fifth person was sitting here doing this? You
exactly.
know?
Lead by
So that's
example too.
why you do it.
Yep.
That's
Right.
why you do it.
So I'm gonna read the book. You watch the Squid
Cool.
Games. You watch the Squid Games.
Cautionary tale.
So yeah, we'll bring it up again once you know what red light, green light means. Okay,
Fine.
that's your secret word, secret
Yeah.
passage, secret.
I know yellow light means I need to pause to go pee.
Red light, green light, red light, green light. Once you know that's the password. All right.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Later, dude.